Florence VILLEMINOT's with us on stage. She's starting off reacting to the death of over 20 children, this terrible story that we were telling you about yesterday in the Indian state of Bihar. They ate food provided in a free public school lunch programme.
That's right. It's getting a lot of attention in the press today. It's on the front page, for instance, of the Wall Street Journal, where you can see a photo actually taken in a hospital where several parents are actually taking care of the children that did survive. As you can imagine, it's also getting a lot of attention in the Indian press. For instance, it's on the front page of the Times of India. And in fact, the Times of India provides really a vast coverage of the incident. For instance, it comes back on the fact that this program, this hot meals program, is seen as being very popular in India, as it's trying to tackle malnutrition in India. So how did this poison on the plate happen? Well, the Times of India points out that in the state of Bihar, well, this in a way was just something that was waiting to happen. It says that the midday lunch scheme is a mess. This is due to poor quality and lack of hygiene. For instance, the Times of India points out that a monitoring body that was visiting the area reported that food was cooked and kept in the open and dirty ground. So as you can imagine, this has sparked a lot of outrage. The Hindu also comes back on this incident in their editorial, also points out that, well, this program is a good program. It not only provides nutrition to children, it also achieves a lot more by involving the community, by employing women, by breaking the caste barriers, by ensuring that all children eat together. But it really depends on each state, how each state is administered. And, well, this tragedy really exposes the chronic neglect of school education, unfortunately, in a large part of India.
Okay, another controversial story that's making the headlines today. This is a controversial cover, really, isn't it, of Rolling Stone?
That's right. We can read about it in the Huffington Post, actually, that comes back on this controversy. And you can see there, it's not a photo of a rock star or an actor. It's a photo of the Boston bombing suspect, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. Now, this is a self-portrait that he took. And so there you see him with that word there, the bomber. But also it says how a popular, promising student was failed by his family, fell into radical Islam, and became a monster. Now, this has really sparked a lot of outrage on Twitter and Facebook. For instance, the governor of Massachusetts said it was out of taste. Several retailers have actually said that they're going to boycott Rolling Stone. A lot of people say this is glamorizing him, making him into a celebrity. But a lot of people are also applauding Rolling Stone and saying that this is actually very courageous journalism. For instance, Mark Joseph Stern in Slate says that this is brilliant, not crass, because sure, this is a dreamy photo of him, but this is really smart on the part of Rolling Stone, because it's depicting this terrorist as a sweet and handsome boy rather than as a kind of ugly and terrifying person. So Rolling Stone is really pointing to something here, which is that we're not as good as we'd like to at spotting evil beneath the surface, because this isn't the usual image we have of a terrorist. It actually looks a lot like somebody, well, we could actually know.
Okay, evil beneath the surface kind of sums up the next story, potentially, anyway, here in France. The Tour de France in full swing. Good story, but there's still that shadow, isn't there, of potential doping creeping
That's
into
right, and the International Herald Tribune is focusing on just how a lot of people are trying to stay one step ahead from the doping. So you have sports officials, but also a bunch of amateurs, and the International Herald Tribune focuses on a small group of physiologists, sports doctors, and just enthusiasts who, well, they're using stopwatches and calculators to try to spot doping. Now, what they formed kind of a loose alliance on the internet. They share their information. They say their aim is not to bring the sport down, but to clean it up, and they're really pressing for professional teams to allow independent analysis of doping tests, because they say that this really needs to be independent, because other sports people who have been caught up in doping recently, like Lance Armstrong, well, they stayed one step ahead of test protocol, so they want an independent test. And the International Herald Tribune says, well, they're starting to have an impact, because several elitist cyclists are actually giving their test results for independent scrutiny. So it's starting to have a little bit of an impact.
Florence VILLEMINOT with the international papers here on France 24. Very latest news coming up for you. Of course, more on the birthday of Nelson Mandela, and also that Alexei Navalny being sent to prison while we're waiting for the sentence in Russia. All that coming up for you after the break here on France 24.
This week we're down to earth in England. This isn't just a casual walk along London's River Thames. I'm with an award-winning university group who have a goal to clean up the world's dirtiest waterways. They think they can make plastic disappear. Sounds like magic, but it's just the type of project that could be possible under a radical new way of doing science.
Don't miss Down to Earth. Today, 5:40 p.m. Paris time on France 24.
Down to Earth, brought to you by the African Development Bank.